Today on our show,
we're going to talk about Kong, Skull Island. We saw the movie. Now we get to review it for you guys. The one thing I am going to say, though, this is going to be a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Watch it, come back.
Go.
We will be here for you. But today on the Rick and Johnny podcast is what we're talking about right now.
This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic.
Wubba-lubba-dub-dub.
And welcome into our bonus podcast for the week, double podcast month here on Most Valuable Podcasts. And Johnny, what is it?
Our March Madness.
It's our March Madness here on the Rick and Johnny podcast. We reviewed Logan last week. We're reviewing Kong Skull Island this week. And last week we did a spoiler review. We're not going to do that. We're just getting into the spoiler mode here. And Johnny, the first thing I want to throw out with this one is I want to start with the end.
Okay.
I want to start with the very end.
Let's do this.
We're going straight into spoiler mode. I want to start with the end. And we talked about the end credit scene originally on the Rick and Johnny podcast after what we thought it was going to be, after the hype that was in that original tweet that we read. Mm-hmm. What were your thoughts after seeing the end credit scene and seeing the Godzilla painting, the Mothra painting, all the other monsters?
Rowan painting or Ronin, whatever it's called. Yeah, you know what? I wasn't as excited as it sounded like. I'm not completely I'm not disappointed. Not at all. But I was not as excited as, per se, seeing an egg hatch or something else. No, we just saw, it was cool to see these things happen. Hints at all these monsters and that they're all around, but they're just cave paintings.
They were.
That's it.
And they looked like they were in different caves, so they weren't even in.
So they were like
cave.
around the world, which is cool because not to just jump into the middle of the movie.
Go.
But you know what? In the middle, his ship. What was it called again?
Can't remember. I know It was John Goodman's ship.
John Goodman's ship that he was on in the military was attacked by something in the middle of the ocean.
It had to be Godzilla, right?
It had to be.
It had to be.
There's nothing really else that we know of, at least you and I, that swims like Godzilla does. There's Mothra flies. All of them, all the other ones fly, really, except for King Kong, who's on Skull Island.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, the ending was not what we all thought it was going to be either. Not just the end credit one, but I'll be honest, I was wondering if it's just going to be another King Kong movie. They bring him to New York and he dies. We did not get that this time.
No, we didn't. He actually got to stay on Skull Island and he lived. But the one thing I do want to jump back to what you did say, because you said something and it looks like you're trying to get on to the next one. I want to reel you back in here.
Yeah, go for it.
When John Goodman's character brought that up and he's like, yeah, I was on a ship and I was the only survivor and everyone thought I was crazy. I was like, oh, that's Godzilla.
It had to be.
I'm like, that's Godzilla. That's Godzilla. I'm like, Johnny.
Yeah, you were hitting me.
Johnny, he mentioned Godzilla. Well, not directly, but he kind of mentioned Godzilla.
Indirectly mentioned Godzilla.
But I just want to say, this movie, one of the better movies that I've seen. It's not like on the same page as Logan.
No.
Logan was an emotional roller coaster. This was vastly different. And the thing that I liked most about this movie was the acting.
Yes.
The acting in this movie was incredible. You had Samuel L. Jackson playing this Vietnam war general who doesn't want to go home, feels like there's no place for him in the real world as a civilian. Looked like he didn't have a family, didn't have anyone to go back to. He is like, in the beginning, looking at his war medals like, this is all for nothing. Plus, on top of it, feeling like, well, if we had a little bit more time, maybe we could have won this thing, finished this war, won and beat the
Viet Cong.
Beat the Viet Cong, but you were getting pulled out. Then you had Tom Hiddleston playing a mercenary, a British tracker. Dad was in the British Army for World War II. Kind of sparks the connection between him and John C. Reilly's character, who, boy, John C. Reilly, to me, I tweeted this after I got home from the movie. stole the show in my mind.
Yes, he did.
Stole the show. Plays a World War II pilot that's been on Skull Island for over 30 years, and he's been living with the natives on that island, I should say, Skull Island. And to me, best actor of the whole thing. And that's kind of really means because you had Brie Larson did a great job, Hiddleston did a great job, Samuel L. Jackson selling you on his character.
Yes.
And not only that, made me hate him.
Yeah.
Made me hate his character.
And you know what? In a sense, you're supposed to end up hating him. Like, he was okay. He wasn't like, you didn't get drawn into him. And you don't want that understanding of him. Because honestly, and it's like or I don't want to say anything, it's that stereotypical of a Vietnam person or a military person. A job left undone is a job failed, and that's his attitude throughout the movie, and it just escalates and escalates.
Well, and that's the big thing. Like
to the
when
end.
they find Kong at the beginning, and Kong just beats him down, Samuel L. Jackson has that mindset of, it's a job failed until I kill that thing.
Exactly.
And there's even a point, and this is what actually I want to bring this up now that you got to it. There's a point where John Goodman's character and one of the soldiers, Cole, who another phenomenal job acting wise, very like stone cold, even keel kind of a guy where like right after they got done fighting Kong the first time, everyone's like
being decimated by Kong.
Like, you're going to eat right now? He goes, well, I'm hungry. And he's like eating a can of beans and he's like, you don't even want to talk about that? Like how crazy that was? He goes, well, yep, that was an interesting predicament that we held ourselves in. Did the best we could. Wasn't enough. And like that's how his character was. Him and John Goodman's character kind of have the conversation of the idea of it is that sometimes the one you think is the enemy is who you're going after. Like you think like they are my enemy, they're who I'm going after, when really they're not the bad guy.
No,
they're not the one you should be going after.
Basically looking for an enemy at that point.
And that's what Samuel L. Jackson was, looking for an enemy because of what had happened with his Vietnam career.
He was a decorated war veteran, and this was a war lost. He didn't want to go home back home with a lost war. He wanted some victory of some sort, and this would have been, in his mind, his victory. And he went after Kong and didn't work out well for him.
Lost, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I like the idea he had, though. Put all the napalm in the water because oil has a different density.
It floats on top of water.
It floats on top of water instead of sinking and then just taking the lighter and throwing it into the water to try to burn them alive.
I mean, with something that's probably 100 foot tall, how else are you going to fight it with the limited supplies?
So he just threw all the napalm in the water, lit them on fire, and then the funniest thing happened then is the big skull crawler comes out, and John C. Reilly's character goes, oh, that's the big one.
Yep.
That's the big one.
After what? I think the water bubbled for a second, and it just popped out of there.
He's like, we should run. And
going on to that, John C. Reilly's character
stole the show.
You know what?
Stole the show.
Comical when like his character was the prominent one. But
you guys shouldn't have come here. You guys shouldn't have come here.
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
It was great. You know what? He was comical when basically his character was at the forefront, but
Did the Cubs win the World Series yet?
But when he needed to be, he just sat in the background and wasn't serious to the point of most of the other characters, but he was serious enough to where, okay, this is a serious point in the movie. Especially
like when they Samuel L. Jackson's character is like, no, we got to find Chapman. We got to go in there. And he's like, I don't think we should be going in there. We're going into the Skull Crusher's home. We're going into their home. This is their territory. We should not be here. And then they have the run-in with one of them, the one that ate Chapman. And boy, did John C. Reilly's character he was kind of like this with the samurai sword.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
And then what was cooler was to see him take one step out, hit it in the leg, and then right down its leg. Just shink, right down, just right, if you're cutting, right down someone's leg.
Straight down the whole leg.
Oh, I'm like, I didn't expect that out of you.
No.
Did you learn that from your buddy? The one that was trying to shoot you 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Before you guys
tried to stab you with that sword?
Before you guys realized that hey, you know what? We're not too much different of people.
Yeah.
Besides, we're from two different nations in the world.
Exactly. And then, not to mention, right after that, he's chopping apart the little pterodactyl things. And that would just like play.
Dude, Tom Hiddleston, though,
With
when
that,
he had
oh.
the gas mask, he's just like, hack, hack, hack. And he's just right out of the sky, just one shot in these little
Well, he's
like,
our hero.
birds.
He's our protagonist.
Yeah, he is our hero. Maybe not the one we need, or the one we want, but he's the one we need. Jim.
Exactly.
It's the one we need. But I mean, John C. Reilly's character, I want to finish on him before we go to anyone else.
Yeah.
I loved it.
So did I.
Like, the best scene to me was when they're in the cave. He's like, yeah, you know, Kong's king around here. He's been protecting these people, and they let him live. Like, he lets them live here, and he's like, you don't go into someone's house dropping napalm and not expect to start a ruckus. And when he first says, like, oh yeah, those things, those are the skull crusher, the what?
Skull crawlers.
Or the skull crawlers.
Yeah.
The what? The skull crawl. You know, I thought about it in my head. It's the name I came up for him. You know what? It's a stupid name.
It sounds stupid now that I'm saying it out loud.
And then Brie Larson's character. No, it's fine. It's fine. We can call them skull crushers or skull crawlers. We can do that. It's fine. It's fine. I really like the name.
It looks at Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because at that point they're thinking, wow, this guy, 30 years has gone by. Is he nuts? Is he loco?
Yeah.
We're just gonna we're putting the kid gloves on. No,
it's all good.
The name's fine. Please don't cry. But oh boy did he steal. Like, he stole the show to me basically with his comedy.
Oh, yeah.
The comic relief that he brought to it, because John Goodman's character was a little bit more serious. Brie Larson's character, Hiddleston's character. But the one thing I kind of joked to you, this was a Marvel budget. We had Samuel L. Jackson, who was in a Marvel movie. Brie Larson's going to be Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Tom Hiddleston is Loki. The guy who played Cole was in Agent Carter.
You're right.
I'm trying to think. There was someone else.
John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly, who was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
This was an almost a full Marvel Disney budget.
Yeah.
A Marvel Disney budgeted film. But what else from the movie did you really like?
You know what?
Besides the casting, let's get off of the cast.
Let's talk a little bit more into the movie.
Yeah.
You know what? The switch up of how some of the creatures were portrayed, and just how they went about it, making Kong at first villainous, and honestly, how he dove right into Kong almost as soon as we got to the island.
Well, not just that. We got to Kong right away.
Yeah.
Because, like, those two pilots crash, they're fighting, and then all you see is hand, and then dun, 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 his head just kind of popping up with the sun behind it, kind of like what we've seen in the trailer.
I'm not even just talking about that part. I'm talking about, like, the movie. Like, yeah, that was the hint of where Kong is.
But, like, they get out of the storm.
They
get out of the storm, and it's like, oh, haha, everything's fine. Hey, what's that coming at us? Boom, tree.
Like, out of nowhere, like, they set up real quick, and that, like,
and then they start dropping the
They didn't, like,
seismic
focus
charges
on that either, which was great, because you don't want to watch that part. They set up their stuff, they start dropping the seismic bombs, and they flush out Kong, which inevitably you find out that's what they were trying to do, flush Kong out.
Yeah, they weren't trying. Originally, they were like, no, we need to use the seismic charges to kind of map the terrain.
And you know what? Even the two scientists, the geologist and the biologist, didn't know about this plan, it seemed like.
No, well, the thing that was interesting is the main sidekick to John Goodman's character.
Yeah.
While they're doing it, he's like, oh my God, you won't believe this. It's hollow underneath. It's hollow underneath. And then you later learn that this guy did a paper about the hollow ground theory.
Yeah.
Where that everything underneath is hollowed for something else to live in. So basically the skull crawlers.
Yeah, in this
basically
case.
where they lived and everything. And he just kept saying to him, he's like, oh my God, you're not going to believe these numbers. It's completely hollow underneath. But really, John Goodman wanted to flush out Kong.
Yeah. And that's the thing was, I love it that as soon as we got, like, within 5-7 minutes of we get through the storm, all of a sudden helicopters going by, and you just see this tree coming right at the first
like a
helicopter.
palm tree.
Yeah, just a palm tree coming right at the first helicopter. And right then, Kong, oh my God. And he just decimates all of them.
He's just like, whack, just swatting them out of the air.
And it's
like
not
flies.
like it's not even like unrealistic too, because he does get injured in the process, because that's a fast moving blade. You see it later on his arm and on his hands, the cuts.
I was going to ask, was that from the helicopters or was that from a different fight that he had with a different monster on the island?
I think it was from the helicopters, because you saw as soon as he grabbed it, he's like looking at his hand as the helicopter's spiraling out of control. He does take a look at his hand.
But I'm saying, like, because there was a big gash.
Yeah,
on
no,
his
that was
arm.
from it too.
Really?
Because it
Okay.
kind of impacted him, and that's why he's like he originally looked at his hand, because he's not paying attention to that at the time, because he's in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
So
But to me, it was like that scene was a little confusing to me, because I'm like, oh, he must have gotten into a fight with a different monster on the island, and he was protecting the indigenous people there.
well, the skull crawlers didn't come up until after the seismic bomb, so that's why afterwards we see him go over to where they usually come out and just crush the two little ones.
And that's even when John C. Reilly mentions he can usually handle them when they're smaller. It's when they grow up to be a little bigger that they give a little fight to them.
Yeah, they killed his parents, as he brings up.
But the thing that, what was I going to say? I was going back to the seismic charges and Kong when he was fighting everybody. Right before that, when they were going through the storm, we got kind of, to me, a little bit of an homage to Samuel L. Jackson's Pulp Fiction character. Kind of very similar.
Yeah.
To where when he reached the, I think it's the Ezekiel passage?
Yeah, I believe
the
so.
The path of the righteous man above. And now brother shall reign upon you in glorious vengeance. We got kind of that going through the storm, where he had this little Bible quote.
Yeah, his little
And this kind of
spiel
little
to
speech.
go on about. Yeah.
And the thing that I remember from it is when he goes, well, guys, and remember, God gave Isaiah everything that he could, but America, they've given us grade A Pennsylvania steel. This ain't gonna bend. And it basically is enough of the courage that he gives his troops to get them through the storm. And it's like they get out and it's like, boom, everything's done. It's like, ooh, nice, sunny, shiny area.
Everything grand.
And everything's gone.
No, that's actually a good thing that good one to bring up, because that was very powerful part of the movie too.
The cinematography in this was great.
Yes, it was.
We got nice shots of the scenery. We got great shots of when they were at night, and you saw it looked like what the Northern Lights would be like way up north. It was like this nice, colorful, beautiful sky, and it looked like that it was all around.
Yeah.
Because
That was a good one too, yeah.
Because even then we got the scene where Hiddleston and Larson are talking, and then we also see Kong kind of sitting in where his little home is, and he's just sitting there looking at the stars.
Yeah.
Kind of just sitting there looking. And it's one of those things where we also get the kind of Larson, we do get the female Kong connection.
Yeah.
That we kind of get with the original, where I'll be honest, when Larson's character went out and put her hand on his face, you know what I was expecting him to do? You're mine. And just kind of take her and walk off.
I was
with her.
too, kind of just grab her and walk away with
and
her.
Then the rest of it is them trying to get her back.
Yeah.
But then also trying to stop Samuel L. Jackson's character from killing Kong. But they went in a different... I like the way they went with it. That later on, she fell off the cliff. He reached into the water, brought her out, had her on his little hand, on his little Kong paw, and basically had to protect her while one-arming a skull crawler.
Yep.
The big mama crawler, as I'm going to call her.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, and another little homage that I kind of saw in there, when he's fighting the skull crawler, the mama skull crawler.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, and he falls over that one ship, and he's stuck with the chains, kind of like an homage to...
I noticed
the first
that too.
movie.
Yeah,
He's like
he was like this.
He's stuck like this.
He's
He's trying to move his arms.
And he had to break, and he had to pull it off his neck, and then eventually, dude, this Kong was smart.
He used he saw the chain. He saw the propeller attached to it,
and then
it's
just
like,
clink.
hey, this thing can inflict some damage on this creature that I have to fight. So just swing, and I think they kind of 300 slow mode it for a second,
and it just shink right into the right
into the shoulder neck
and
area.
He was able to pull it and then just pull the skull crawler
and smash it
wherever
around
he wanted to. There was also a part where he had the skull crawler just like the video game
The
you
little
said you
one,
used
yeah.
to play, where he had it to where I'm like, oh, is he just gonna rip, and then just bust the skull open?
That's
But
what I
no,
was-
He didn't get to do that.
They wanted to drag out a little bit more, which was good. It would have been a cool way to finish it off, but I like where they went with it because they if they didn't do that, they wouldn't have the like, hey, I have to save her, and then keep her safe from this, where he just rips its guts out.
And to go on the cinematography of it, the one part I really liked was when they were with the village of the indigenous people.
Yeah,
And Brie Larson's character was taking the photos of them. And it was like, and they even showed like what the old photograph would look like. I really enjoyed that part. I thought
did
it was
too.
a nice taste, and I liked how they portrayed the pictures being taken.
well, it's kind of like the 1970s. I don't want to say Life magazines, but you know the National Geographics,
Yeah.
or like the older National Geographics, where
Because her character was an anti-war photographer.
yeah, but she was taking pictures of the indigenous people, and it was kind of nice to like, hey, it's kind of like what you would see in an old National Geographic, just indigenous people sometimes being told to do certain poses that
That
are
was funny.
Americanized.
When she was like,
This,
she had to do
this,
the piece, and they were actually smiling and
a little
laughing.
bit.
Some
yeah.
of them were smiling and laughing. The two main ones were interesting because there were
Yeah.
all the regular ones had yellow paint on.
They had blue.
The two big ones had blue, and the best thing was they come up. John C. Reilly like acknowledges them, talks to him, and then goes, "Oh, good news, guys! You guys can stay." Where did you get that from?
They didn't say anything.
And saying, "Oh, you learn to
They
talk
don't speak
to them
a
after
lot."
while. You learn to communicate with them after a while."
They don't say a whole lot.
Like I told you, John C. Reilly stole the show for
he
this
did,
one.
yeah. But I think
Sorry, I had to take a drink of my tasty beverage.
Yes.
There. But, well, my non-tasty beverage because it's water. I'm going healthy this time, guys. I'm going healthy. But one of the last things I want to talk about with me is the end credit. Not the end credit, but before the end credit.
yes.
John C. Reilly comes back to his family, mentions he has a son that he's never seen. Son's never seen him. He knows that he has a son because right before he went off to war, the mom told him that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
So he comes back. The son answers the door. The mom walks by, drops the drinks that she has in her hands because she thought he's been dead for 30 years. I will be completely honest with you guys. I have a sick and twisted mind. My first thought was that they were going to go with the son comes up, is shocked. The wife comes up, is shocked. Now here's the guy she remarried, just coming out of the other room like, oh, you got married again. Because they had a little give and take during the movie of like, I wonder if she even remembers me still, and
Or if she waited.
if she waited, and like one of the characters like, nah, she didn't wait, and when Tom Hiddleston's character, I think, was like, you know what? No, people wait for true love.
Some people find things worth waiting for.
Was the same thing going through your mind? Like, oh, here comes the guy she remarried.
I didn't think about that at first, but after the whole scene happened, during the credits, I thought about that because I'm like, oh, this is a really heartwarming part of the movie. And then when the credits ended, like, it would have been kind of funny if they threw that in there, though.
They just threw in the random guy like, oh, well, I guess. And like you even said to me, what if it's like the neighbor Jim? Hey, Jim, what
are you doing here?
What are you doing here? I thought that would be funny. But anything that we haven't talked about with Kong that you think we need to?
No, I think it was a really good movie. The acting, the cinematography, even some of the creatures they made put through in there. One of them that creeped you out.
No, I forgot that one. If you guys hate spiders, there is a scene of like a
10 to 20 foot spider.
a million gajillion foot spider. That's
A
what I
little
thought of it.
exaggerated.
Where the guy just looks up and
right
down
through the
his
mouth.
throat
Oh,
is a
man.
leg. The leg
As
is like
thick as a
fucking
bamboo shoot.
Baboon sticks. Oh my god. Oh, dude, it was so bad. It was one of those things where I hated spiders, so the whole time I'm sitting there in the seat like this, and I'm like, and Johnny's like, oh, I forget you're kind of squeamish because after the guy gets let loose from the freaking webbing,
They
he
shoot
just,
it
all
up
the
and
guts
yeah.
get dropped on him, and Johnny goes, oh, I forgot you were squeamish. No, Johnny, I hate spiders.
I forgot about
hate
that
them.
one.
I hate spiders.
I forgot about the passion he hates spiders with.
Another scene in the movie that I have to touch is Why was the one little dumbass kind of waist high in the pond or in the lake, kind of like washing up and getting some drinking water? I'm sorry, I see Kong. I know I see other things flying around. Fuck that, I ain't getting in the water. I am not getting in that water because I cannot see through it and I don't know what's in there. And luckily, Kong got to that octopus before that octopus got to that guy.
Yeah, no, he was lucky because he did not even notice it.
Well,
And
when they started showing him, I went, it was just in the background, just whoop. And I was like, did he not see that? Did he not see that? And I'm like, oh, fuck, he's getting eaten. He's going to die.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing to see that. Like, I guess because he's a soldier, just Kong, his focus was that,
Kong.
there's a giant ape, but everything else has been normal size so far.
And also, one of those things like you said during that, you're like, oh, man, I kind of hope they would have elongated that octopus King Kong sequence.
Yeah.
Where the octopus was wrapped around Kong and he ended up
Just stepping on its head.
Stepping on its head. And then he just drags it with him.
Yeah.
Like he has some of the tentacles.
He's
in his
eating it
mouth,
already.
He's eating it and he's like, fuck it. This is my dinner.
Yep, he just drags it with him. He's like, I'm going to keep eating this.
Oh, man. This movie, possibly to me, it was a fun experience. And it's, like I said, it's not anything like Logan, because Logan was just such an emotional roller coaster. This was just a fun movie. It had great acting. It was great shots, great cinematography. Another actor we didn't mention, the father from Step Brothers,
Yes.
was one of the senators that the Goodman's character from Monarch went to go see to set up the whole expedition. I would say that this is a must-see for me if you guys have not seen it. And I don't know why you guys have watched this if you haven't, because we kind of spoiled things for you.
Yeah, please.
here and there.
Hopefully you didn't watch this without going to see it.
This wasn't like Logan. We didn't walk through everything, but we did have some spoilers throughout this. But Johnny, just to kind of kick things off to end this, I'm going to go ahead and say a solid. I was leaning towards going a little less because of what you said last night. I'm going to go 4 out of 5 here. 4 stars out of 5 for Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, you know what? After talking this review, and we did talk about it afterwards, we were on the fence between 3.5 and 4.
I said 4, and then you said 3.5, and I was like, am I being too kind?
No, I told you I was worried about that too, and that's why I said I'm between 3.5 and 4. I don't want to be too kind, but you know what? It's a great movie. It's got great action. It's got great comedy to it when needed. It was fun to go watch. It was fun to go watch. It's not like you have to think about anything. So you know what? I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5.
4 out. So you're going 4. Wow, you're actually jumping up a half.
Yeah,
you were originally 3 out of 3.
Oh, I told you I was between. I was on the fence between the two.
Okay, yeah. I think that this one, mainly what my biggest pro with this movie was the acting.
Yes,
the acting was phenomenal, but with a cast like this and the amount of moolah that I'm assuming that they had to throw in each of these actors' directions, the money well spent.
Very
for
much
the
so.
end product of it, because all of the actors, even like the ones that I didn't know in the actual like army crew, they did a great job as well.
They did, yeah.
Especially with the one connection we didn't talk about, the one private, I think it was private, just one of the soldiers, Jack Chapman. The one thing that was very heart-wrenching is when he died, because the whole joke was he was writing to his son Billy and was going to come home for his birthday party, and one of the ones comes up and he goes, "Yeah, I know what you're going to write. Dear Billy, sorry I'm an asshole. Love, Dad."
And that was a joke throughout it until they find his stuff. And it's, yeah, like you said, it's heart-wrenching, and they actually still make an homage to it or not homage, but they play that last final joke, just speaking up as, "Hey, Billy, sorry about your dad," something like that.
Yeah, dear Billy.
Yeah, dear Billy.
And it was one of those things where even when they found it, Samuel L. Jackson's character goes, "Make sure that gets home to his wife and kid. Make sure that gets home to him."
Yeah.
And that was one thing I forgot to say. But this is a great movie, a phenomenal movie. We're both giving it a 4 out of 5. I keep wanting to throw the 0.5 because I thought you were going to go 3.5. But you changed on me. You copied me. It's okay. I'm a cool kid to copy off of. So we're both going 4.5. If you've seen the movie,
4 out
let
of
us
5.
know down below. Did I do 4.5
Yes, you
again?
did again.
4 out of 5. See, I keep trying to creep it up.
4 out of 5.
I keep trying to creep it up. 4 out of 5. So if you've seen the movie, let us know what you guys think down below. Also, let us know what you guys think of these movie reviews, and if there's a movie coming up in the future that you want us to go see, you want us to go review, leave a note down in the comment section. Let us know. We want to do these for you guys, our fans. Want to thank you guys for watching our Kong Skull Island review. We will see you guys next week when we kind of briefly review Beauty and the Beast. But as always, have a good day, everybody.
I don't know about this, Rick.
Just do it, Morty.
Thank you for watching Most Valuable Podcast video. If you want to watch more of them, just watch them right here. And thank you for watching.